Hey folks, this is Kalani. Survival Hunters are going to be one of the most overhauled specs going into Legion. They're not even a ranged hunter anymore. We'll be grabbing a spear and joining the fray at the boss's butt cheeks, happily enjoying the rage every melee has experienced from all our stampede pets getting in the way. Seeing as pretty much everything is changing, let's have a look at how things are shaping up for Survival Hunter in the next expansion. Now this video is going to go over the artifact we'll be wielding, how we obtain it, the variations of said artifact, the new abilities we have to master, and how our talents are looking in the current alpha build. There should be a quick navigation guide somewhere at the top of the video if you want to skip to any part in particular. Remember that everything in this video is from the alpha, so as always everything is subject to change. First things first, what weapon will we be using to carve our foes' limbs off? The Survival Hunter artifact is an ancient spear called Talon Claw. Supposedly it was the High Mountain tribe's greatest weapon, wielded by the great chieftain Huln High Mountain when he tried to eradicate a magically corrupted lightsaber which was terrorizing the High Mountain clan. Sadly, he never returned and Talon Claw was lost to the ages. Thankfully, a few members of the High Mountain clan have learned the powerful lightsaber which now stalks the mists of the Tidescorn harbour in Stormheim. When arriving at the harbour, you'll find out the local Kvaldir have set up a series of defensive wards to try and keep the monster trapped in its mist-shrouded lair. That won't do us any good, we need to get our artifact. After killing a few Kvaldir and gathering some of their ward stones, you can traverse the barrier and start stalking your prey. Though High Mountain's Bane seems to have other plans. After a grueling battle which involves throwing flare after flare after flare to keep your target in sight, you push your prey back to its lair. A few flares later and the beast will be destroyed, allowing the Talonclaw to be reclaimed. And that's it. With your artifact in hand, you're ready to take on the Burning Legion. But what about fashion options? Thankfully, the Talonclaw looks pretty cool as is, and it has a few different colours, but as with every artifact, it also comes with a sweet variety of skins to unlock. Now, we don't have any specifics on how these skins will be obtained, and they may change by the time Legion releases, but that doesn't stop us having a look. So the base theme is an eagle theme. We can see that very clearly with the engraving on one side of the blade at the top. Fits the theme of being a tribal weapon with the wooden handle and feathers adorning the top. Very cool overall. Up next is an upgraded version of the base skin. It's named Phoenix on the Wowhead model viewer. It follows the same theme as the eagle spear before, but those feathers seem a tad more fiery. I guess that's why it's been labelled Phoenix. The end opposite the blade is also quite a bit fancier. This next skin has a bear theme with a strong claw carving into the wider spear tip and another carving on the butt of the spear. The decoration has moved from feathers to claws as well. Next we have a serpent theme, though this reminds me a lot more of something we might find underwater. Both the blade and end look somewhat like fins, kind of like a manta ray. The handle has also changed from wood to bones, which join in the middle with a massive screw. Very cool indeed. Some of the colour variations change that theme up quite a lot as well, especially the red one, which looks a lot more like a molten weapon, very fiery. The last version of the artifact is a wolf theme, incredibly obvious wolf head for the spear tip, which looks too savage not to come from somewhere on Draenor, and there's a menacing chain spiralling all the way down the spear. The small parts of ribbon add a nice bit of decoration too. It's fun to see how different they can make the skins look while keeping a strong sense of the class that the weapon is representing. I'm excited to see which skins become the most popular when we all finally sink our teeth into Survival Hunter. Of course, if none of these models take your fancy, you can always transmog back to Black Ice. That's all of the artifact stuff out of the way. Let's see how survival looks in combat. For the most part, I'll just run through the abilities we have so far and look at their animations. First is Mongoose Bite. This has changed quite a bit since its removal a while back. Now it's on a charge system with 3 charges. Every time you use it, it increases the damage of further Mongoose Bites by 50% for 3 seconds. You gain charges through a variety of talents, and your mastery gives you a percentage chance every time your pet attacks to gain a charge. What's fun is that past 4 charges, the animation actually changes. Next is Raptor Strike. I would say this is the filler ability, but it still costs focus. We don't really have a focus generator, so using focus on a filler feels really annoying and bad, but that's what we have to work with. Moving on, we have Laceration. Basic damage over time effect with a cooldown similar to its duration. Hopefully it does enough damage to warrant casting it. Its animation seems to be shared with the powerful Mongoose Bites from earlier. Your pet comes into play with the next ability, Flanking Strike. It's kind of like Kill Command from Beast Mastery, except both you and your pet attack. Super interesting concept. And it also seems to be our keep on cooldown at all times ability, pooling focus to make sure we can cast it when we need to, but also using as many global cooldowns with Raptor Strike is going to be a fun balancing game. I guess it relies on getting a lot of Mongoose Bite procs so we don't use too much focus. We also have an AoE ability, though it seems to hit like a wet noodle right now. Cleave will strike everything in a cone in front of you, though the animation looks like it would hit everything around you. The next ability comes from your artifact. This is the one that you start with, so you basically get it baseline. It's called Fury of the Eagle, and it's a channeled cone AoE. What's crazy about this ability is that you can cast anything and everything while channeling it. I'm not sure if this is an oversight or not intended, but if it is, we'll be using this pretty much endlessly while fighting. Its damage is also buffed by Mongoose Bite stacks, making min-maxing your Mongoose Bites incredibly important. Now we have something which caused quite a bit of ruckus when first previewed, Harpoon. You throw a harpoon to your target, drag yourself to the harpoon and root the target. Basically, it's a cool version of charge. Hatchet Toss is a weak ranged attack. It doesn't seem to have much purpose except to pull mobs or to keep a minimal amount of DPS going at range. Wing Clip is back with a vengeance, and a focus cost. 30 focused for your melee snare, but it does last a whopping 15 seconds. Comes with a nice dodge to the side animation too. And last but not least, transitioning to a melee wouldn't be complete without a melee interrupt. Muzzle. Basic interrupt with a nice animation. That's all the base abilities which are new or returning, so let's have a poke around the talents. Animal Instincts provides a random buff of 3 when you use Flanking Strike. I've tested this and it doesn't rely on your type of pet, it seems to be entirely random. Throwing Axes is pretty straightforward. Essentially it's 3 hatchet tosses and doesn't have a special animation. Honestly, it seems like a pretty weak Talon right now. Way of the Mock Nathal seems kind of OP and gives you a reason to actively fill with Raptor Strike. The buff stacks to 5 times and lasts 8 seconds, giving you a good window to keep it active. Post Haste hasn't really changed much, a nice tool for kiting, though maybe a little less useful for a melee hunter. Far Strider is an interesting take on increasing your mobility. Every crit reduces the cooldown of Disengage. That can keep you away from folks or allow you to reposition very quickly. Dash increases the duration of Aspect of the Cheetah. Now, Cheetah has changed. It's not a passive movement speed increase anymore, it's much more like Dash or Sprint. It provides a huge burst of speed for a short duration, then provides a small movement speed buff for a longer duration afterwards. Obviously, this talent increases the duration you have that speed. Caltrops is very much what you'd expect it to be. Throw a bunch of sharp stuff on the floor and laugh as people run over it. They deal damage and slow targets that are foolish enough to follow you. Improved Traps is very basic, very boring. Reduce the cooldown of your traps by 15 seconds. Steel Trap is a little new. It replaces Freezing Trap and immobilizes instead of freezes, but also throws a huge bleed onto the target which trips it. Sadly, either doesn't have a special animation or visual, or it's not properly implemented yet. Sticky Bomb is exactly what it sounds like. Throw a bomb and run. Or maybe stick to your target like a leech because the bomb is going to knock down everybody near the bomb and deal a good chunk of damage. Ranger's Net replaces Wing Clip and basically does the same thing, just at range. It also roots for a brief period, which makes it a lot nicer for catching and killing than Wing Clip. Camouflage is now a talent, but it has baseline stealth. You also have a nice damage bonus on your first attack leaving camouflage. A Murder of Crows is essentially the same, nothing really new there. Throw a dot on a target and it resets if the target dies within a certain amount of time. Dragon's Fire Trap is interesting. It replaces Explosive Trap and kind of does the same thing, but it damages units around the Dragon's Fire target as well. So, if you have two targets afflicted, it should be damaging both of them twice. Like Steel Trap, it doesn't seem to have a special visual. Snake Hunter is going to be fun. Instantly gain 3 charges of Mongoose Bite. That's going to make for a great amount of burst as long as Mongoose Bite starts hitting hard past 3 stacks. It's on a decent cooldown too, making a potent tool. Butchery seems like it's going to be the best choice for AoE. Spread your laceration to everybody you hit with Cleave. Hopefully we'll be doing a good chunk of damage whenever we get it. Mortal Wounds could make for huge Mongoose Bite chaining. In case you haven't noticed, that seems to be a key theme with survival in Legion. You could proc after proc after proc, or get nothing at all. Yay RNG! Serpent Sting! We missed you. It's thrown onto Raptor Strike, and if you have the stacking buff talent from earlier, this would be up 100% of the time anyways. Free damage is always nice. Spitting Cobra is kind of weird, but it's nice to have a bit of variation. You summon a little Naga snake and it spits at your target. It seems a little weak right now, but numbers probably aren't tuned at all. Expert Trapper introduces a few crazy bonuses to all of our traps. Freezing Trap slows everyone around the target, Explosive Trap does more damage, Tar Trap gives a chance for people to be rooted, Steel Trap deals more damage on the target that trips it, and Dragon's Fire Trap has a chance to spread to nearby enemies, and it sounds like they might be disorientated. Aspect of the Beast provides yet another bonus to Flanking Strike, this time based on what spec your pet is using. Ferocity applies a bleed to the target, Tenacity reduces the damage a target takes for 6 seconds, and Cunning snares the target with a huge 70% slow. And that's it. That's all the talents we have right now. No new talents for 110, but I'm sure the artifact power system will more than make up for that. This video is already long enough, so if you want to check out those, I'll link one of the calculators that is up to date in the description below. So far, things are looking pretty good for Survival Hunter. I'd love to see a bit more focus management instead of buff management, but things feel very RNG reliant right now on the whole Mongoose Bite thing. So I'm not too sure, but it's exciting to see things come together as we return to the melee madness. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this preview of Survival Hunters in Legion. If there's anything you'd like to see from the alpha, let me know in the comment section below and I'll try to get back to you. If you have any questions or queries, feel free to leave those in the comment section below as well. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.